Choosing the perfect fonts can honestly be daunting, but it really doesn't have to be. Over the next 5 minutes, I'll show you how to pick fonts that make sense for your brand. All right, let's do this. So when I was thinking of what I wanted to do for this video, I was Googling bad typography, and honestly, even Google knows what's up. Bad typography literally pulls up this entire page with what I assume to be their version of Comic Sans. Hi, my name is Gio and I am the founder of GIOGRAFIK. Anytime I talk to a client, I can't stress enough that fonts are way more than just letters on the page or used within a website or your social media. They communicate personality, tone, professionalism. The right font can make your brand feel elegant, playful, modern. And as you can see, like any of these options, it's the same word, but there's a completely different essence with the font that's chosen. So for example, to the left, we have an event poster for Rhythmic Roots, which is a party hosted by DJ and producer Nicholas Nothing. And on the right, in comparison, we have Steel Beauty Clinic, which is a luxury med spa. As you can see with Rhythmic Roots, it's much more playful. The font choices are more focusing on dance, movement, whereas with Steel Beauty Clinic, we want to choose fonts that will align with how the customer will experience the services that are given at the med spa. They're more elegant, they breathe much more easily than with Rhythmic Roots. Right off the bat, you're gonna want to understand what is your brand's personality. Is it elegant? Is it playful? Is it modern? You want to make sure that you're picking fonts that match that energy. For a more playful brand, I would go with something quirky where it has a bit more personality. Like you see this here, the Capricimo, it's bubbly, there's playful energy. In this regard, we're going to look at the headers specifically, which is the top font. If you're going for something a bit more elegant, then I would make sure to choose something with serif fonts. There's a bit more of a delicate nature to the lettering, and there are some fine details. And then if we're going a bit more modern, then I would say that we choose something more angular. It has more of a geometric approach, even futuristic a little bit. There's a bit more of a playfulness to it, but it's definitely a more modern. So now that we've gotten an idea of what are our 3 primary approaches to fonts, now we're going to talk about pairing. A rule of thumb is that we don't want to use too many fonts. I would say anywhere between 2 and 3 is usually the sweet spot for putting a font family together. We use one for primary headings, subheadings, and one for body copy, which is long form text. So if you look at the left example, you can see that the header is a nice refined serif font, and then beneath that we have a secondary header. And it's all in caps, which I really like as a contrast to how tall and thin and condensed the header font is. And I find that it grounds it in the layout where it gives it a bit more of an editorial feel. So it's not too fluffy, it's not too airy, it's not too feminine. And when it comes to the body copy, I typically like to go with a sans serif. I find that it reads better and it always will flow in a way that is legible, which is the number 1 priority. We always want to make sure that our body copy or any long form text is always going to be legible. In our option to the right, what we have is the primary header and the secondary header are the same font, but in different weights. So here we have Unbounded Medium as our primary header. And then to simplify it, we're sticking to that same font, but using a lighter weight. With this particular pairing, the body copy is a more condensed font. It's a bit taller as well. So it mimics the header font. So that way there is a bit more of a continuous flow with the style in which the fonts are designed. Make sure your fonts are easy to read. You want to test it out in a couple of different sizes, especially for body text. We see it here. All 3 of these approaches are legible when it comes to the primary header, the secondary header, and the body copy. Now, if we zoom out, we want to make sure that especially our headers are legible. So generally across the board, we can see that on the left and in the middle and on the right, they're all legible at a smaller size. Now we could go even smaller, but who's even writing at that size? Let's be real. A pro tip for any of you who are not well versed in design or typography, fonts, etc. Google Fonts has a really good library online of free fonts that you can use in your projects. You don't have to have a license for them. They're commercially free to use. If you like any of the fonts that I've used in this video, the name is listed below and you can grab them on Google Fonts. And there you have it. Picking the perfect font is 100% about knowing your brand, choosing complementary fonts, and prioritizing readability. If you want more tips like this, hit subscribe and check out my other branding videos. And write in the comments. I want to hear what fonts you're using for your brand, what fonts you're obsessed with, what are your tried and trues that you go to all the time, what platforms do you use? Are you on Google, Adobe? Seriously, I want to know. Bye.